So in the fall of 1969, I went to Kent State University. Why did I go to Kent State University? It was the only university that accepted me. It was, in fact, the only university I applied to. In fact, my father sent the application, I think, so that I was just having fun, partying. I was a C student in high school. I just wanted to play football, and so that's where he got me, Kent State University. So I was there at Kent, and it's the fall, and then we move on into the spring. That I lived in Johnson Hall, and there was an area there called the Commons, where we would play football every day and everything. And there was an ROTC building, a white wooden clapboard ROTC building, and then there was our dorm up on the hill. And Taylor Hall was the School of Journalism, was across from our dorm up a path. And this is going to come in to importance later, the reason I'm telling you about these buildings and where they are. So anyway, in the spring of 1970, Billy Lash, a guy that lived in the dorm with me, and I myself decided we were going to go to a concert in upstate New York at New Paltz, New York. About 5,000 people attended this concert. The Jefferson Airplane were there, and Joe Cocker and the Mad Dogs and Englishmen, and what's his name, the pianist guy that I like so much. His name's Leon Russell. He was there too. So we went to see this concert, and we hitchhiked there. And all the way there, it was like on a Thursday, there were people traveling in unrest. Like there were demonstrations going on about the war, about the Black Panther, Bobby Seale. He had a trial that was going on, his murder trial. I think he was charged with murder or something. And there he was at Yale. And I'm even fuzzy on some of the politics of all this because, again, I was just out there having fun. I wasn't that affected by a lot of these things, or so I thought. So anyway, we went there to the concert, and it was an amazing concert. It was out in a big field, and we were all like on a level. I don't even remember them like being on a stage. It was crazy because some girl ran up to Joe Cocker when he was playing, and she stuck her hand right in his pants while he was doing his gyrations, and he didn't even stop. He just kept doing his gyrations. It was just crazy. But anyway, we were all stoned. Everybody had fun. But again, in that travel, going there and back, like a van picked us up on the way there, and there were like 13 people stuffed in this van. Black people, white people, Indians. They were going to the Bobby Seale trial, and every place we stopped, every rest stop, they would get out and deface everything at the rest stop with magic markers and shit. And we finally said, I told Billy, we got to break away from this, man, where these people are trouble. And they were sniffing aerosol Band-Aid. They didn't want to carry drugs, but that's what they were sniffing on in this van, these people. It was crazy. And we had heard things were starting to happen at Kent. Before we left, Jane Fonda had been there. Jerry Rubin had been there. They had all come there. There were demonstrations. And we heard, at New Paltz at the concert on Thursday and Friday and Saturday that things were happening at Kent. And Monday morning, we got up and we started working our way back, or it might have even been Sunday night, but Monday morning, this guy gave us a ride right into our dorm, and the ROTC building, it was gone. It was burned to the ground. The Commons, the whole area was covered with the National Guard and their vehicles and stuff like that. And this guy was pissed about the war in Vietnam, the guy that was driving us. He was in a Mustang, I remember, and he was like a veteran, and he was pissed that we were in this war. And he drove us right up there, and we went in the dorm, and everything was in chaos. And, the people I lived with, these two guys, one of them was Howie Ruffner. He was an ex-Air Force photographer, pilot guy, and he took all the pictures at Kent of the shooting and everything, and it happened that day that we got back, that Monday morning. I was laying in my bunk, and this guy, Joe Jadon, a good friend of mine, he was like in the Yippies, which was some kind of a group that had formed, and he told me something was going to happen that morning. It was going down that day. He didn't know what. I don't know. I didn't pay much attention to him because I was tired from this long trip and this concert. And then the next thing you know, there was tear gas in our dorm. We had to leave the dorm. I remember, it was my first encounter with tear gas that I ever had. You start crying. You can't stop it. You start tearing and it hurts, it burns. And so we had to go outside to get air, to get the fresh air. And that's what we did. So once we got out there was all this chaos. These kids were running at the guard with the Viet Cong flags, and they were throwing rocks and stuff, and the guard would advance towards them. And then the guard, they kind of got up and walked all the way across from the ROTC building down at that parking lot. That's where they had headquartered themselves. They came all the way across this field. They went up this hill between my dorm and this Taylor Hall that I talked about, the School of Journalism. The kids were all gathered in a bowl kind of shape there, and they moved these kids over the side down to a parking lot. And then they went down on that. There was a practice football field at the edge of the parking lot, and they stationed themselves there. And the kids started running at them again, carrying the Viet Cong flag, throwing rocks, and the guys would, act like they were going to do something, and they never did. And then they got up. They got back up that hill, and when they got to the top of that hill, they turned around and just blew away that parking lot. And that's where those kids got shot and killed. 4 of them were killed. One of them was one of the leading ROTC officers, and he told somebody right next to him, right before he got killed, that they had no live ammo, don't worry about it. And bam, he was down. A girl that got hit was 100 yards away, carrying stuff to a class. She wasn't even part of any of it. She got killed. And imagine, I remember watching, it was like you'd have to be fucking Roberto Clemente or Joe DiMaggio or somebody to hit one of these guys with a rock from 100 yards away. It's not possible. A football field away, nah, it's not going to happen. So, but they would get closer, and so anyway, then this thing all went off, man, and we ran down the hill, me and my friend Gus, he was with me, and there were these like stone little walls outside the dorms, and we jumped behind this wall, and the guard was up there, and we heard all the popping and all this going off, and this guy came running out in a suit with a gas mask on, carrying a pistol. He ran right by us, man. He was like 5 feet away. We could have tackled him. And to this day, we often wonder, because that moment we looked at each other, we thought do we tackle this guy? What if he shoots us? Who is he? We thought he was the sniper, because up on the hill, right before they shot, we were all up there. I remember someone started saying, "Sniper, sniper," and that's when we all started dispersing and moving, and that's when the shooting started. But I do remember in my mind, out of fairness to these guys, they were in gas masks. They're carrying weapons. They're in uniform. It's 75, 80 degrees. It's hot. This has been going on. They came off of a Teamster strike in Cleveland that they were up there for 2 weeks without a lot of sleep. And I remember when they said, "Sniper, sniper," whoever did that, I remember thinking, man, you'd probably shoot anything that moved. That's why we ran like hell. We thought they might think we're the sniper. So then the guy ran down right into the guard, though, this guy carrying the pistol. He ran right to the guard. And so we thought, I guess they caught him. I mean, the guard has him. He's the sniper, maybe. And they never really explained who that guy was. But we went in the dorm, and some of these kids were carrying mattresses and towels out there to help these people that were shot do stuff like that. They were not afraid. They were going out there, and they were going to do it. Some of them made rings circle around these people to protect them, and it was just crazy. You go in there, your impulse was to throw a mattress against the window, because we still think there's a sniper somewhere out there. No one really knew what had happened at that moment. No one knew. And then the first report on the radio, it actually said that some guardsmen were killed. Imagine that. It was totally the opposite, but that's what the first report said. And anyway, my roommate, that guy Howie, he was not a real friend of mine, I have to say that. He was just my roommate. I was stuck in with him. He was an upperclassman. I was a freshman, and they would put us in with upperclassmen to kind of show you the ropes and stuff. But I think I was more of an annoyance to him. But he took the cover picture for Life magazine. He took all these pictures. The FBI came to my house on Long Island. Imagine my mom and dad were shocked. I got questioned about all this because I was there, but you know, it was odd. They didn't bring up that sniper guy, and I wondered. They told me when I brought it up that they had looked into it, and I was thinking, how could you have looked into it? You're just getting to me, and you haven't talked to me yet. I'm telling you about this guy that was carrying this fucking weapon, and waving it around. And anyway. So that's what happened, and oddly enough, when this went to court, they charged about 50 kids with inciting a riot. And the first 4 or 5 kids pled guilty, but that 5th kid was like, hell no, bullshit. They dismissed all the rest of those cases. And because that one kid again stood up and said, no way, man, I didn't incite no riot. These guys were out there armed, they killed us, they murdered us, blah, blah, blah. And the judge, I don't know, he dismissed the rest of the cases, but it was a day that, you don't ever forget, because we knew this professor, Glenn Frank, just to tell you a few anecdotal things and then end this. But this guy, Glenn Frank, his son was a friend of ours. He was a swimmer. And I remember this guy begging these kids to go in. These guys are going to kill you. They're going to shoot you. They're scared. They don't know what they're doing. And I watched a kid after it happened. Right out the window, man, I was watching him. He got right in the face of this guard guy, and he chewed this guy. I mean, he fucking just chewed him out. How can you fucking kill your own brothers and sisters, you son of a blah? And this guy was holding his weapon like this, just shaking, and I thought, any minute he's going to just pop this guy, but he didn't do it. He just held, and this hippie guy he just went nuts. And then you hear the bell ringing, it would ring on the hour. They had a bell, and just all this was happening at the same time, and it was just crazy, just nutty. But one of those days I'll just never forget. But that's what happened.